Thank you very much. My name is Robert Brown. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for Global Debt Registry. I wanted to talk to you today about some of the work we've done in building out a private blockchain application. Global Debt Registry offers asset certainty products for the credit markets. We have a product called ePledge. It's a Collateral Pledge Registry. The core focus for ePledge is to reduce senior lender risk around double pledging of assets from borrowers. We have it in up and running right now. We've registered about 700,000 loans at this time. So we want to consider, would this be a good blockchain application? So we looked at, what are the characteristics of a good blockchain application? So here on this slide, we have some of the listings from the World Economic Forum. There's a good article out by Gideon Greenspan in terms of what does it take to build a good blockchain application. So in our case, ePledge has a set of data that's shared across multiple organizations. Those organizations need to be able to write to that data, and then there's ordered transactions that need to happen. In addition, it's in this ecosystem, there's a set of competitors where there's minimal trust. So based on this, we felt like it was a good blockchain use case. So what we did next is we wanted to go out there and understand what are the capabilities of the different blockchain platforms. We've looked at this as a private blockchain application based on the fact that our financial clients and the kind of data that we move back and forth. So we felt that was kind of the right thing to do. So we looked at 3 different platforms. We looked at Hyperledger Fabric, Ethereum, and Chain. We did this first proof of concept about a year ago. So based on this, we liked a lot of the characteristics. We liked a lot of the different products, but we ended up choosing to go with Hyperledger Fabric. Fabric is built from the ground up as a private permission blockchain application. It has a strong community support. It's part of the Linux Foundation Hyperledger project. The code was originally contributed from IBM, and they continue to support it. So that was a plus for us. It had a great set of development tools that we used to build applications quickly, and it had a lot of the requirements we need, like the ability to create confidential transactions. So after taking Hyperledger, choosing Hyperledger, the next thing we wanted to do was understand, could we use it in our ePledge application? So in this case, what we did was we rewrote our ePledge application using Hyperledger Fabric. The way we did it is we swapped out the back end, the database we swapped out for Hyperledger Fabric. We moved a lot of the business logic into smart contracts in Fabric, and then worked with it from that point of view. It actually turned out pretty well. It worked pretty effectively. We ran this on Amazon Web Services. We're an Amazon shop, and we did both of our proof of concepts with Amazon. So if I kind of talk about the tools that we have, there's a set of development tools we use to build it. Hyperledger Composer is a sister project to Fabric that helps you build applications quickly. One thing that was nice was it allowed you to model the business process through a business modeling language. That was good. It had a playground application that let you quickly prototype the different ideas that you had. They also enabled us to use JavaScript as the smart contract development language. We're familiar with JavaScript, so that was a plus for us. And then we were able to generate an API server from the business definition. So these made it very easy for us to get up and running and build out some of our ideas for Fabric. All right, so that kind of takes us to where we are right now. Now that we've proved the functional part of the application, we want to see what is it going to take to move it to production. So we have, you see the usual suspects here: security, performance, administration. We need to be able to test these and make sure that they'll withstand audits and have the security that we need for the application that we have. One of the things a little unique for the blockchain application is the use of off-chain and on-chain processing and storage. So that's a key decision point in terms of how you're going to deploy your application. We looked at a number of different hosting solutions. We were a fairly small shop, so we wanted to choose a hosting partner that would help us focus on the application, not on some of the administration. We're currently evaluating the IBM blockchain. They run Hyperledger Fabric, but then they add a set of value-added services around it, including administration capability, deployment, and those sorts of things. In addition, you get the IBM standing behind it, well-trusted name. So we're in the process of testing that right now. We have, we are planning to go pilots later this year with 2 of our clients. And then beyond that, we're looking to go production by the end of the year. So in terms of next steps, after we get past that production installation, we have to figure out what will be next. We're going to expand both vertically and horizontally. We want to move into additional asset classes. Today, we're focused on digital lending. We want to expand also into beyond collateral pledge. Collateral pledge is our initial entry into the market. Over time, we see the life of a loan being on the blockchain from cradle to grave. So that's where we see the ability to add some of the other functions that we're doing out there. So we have products that support ownership tracking and verification. We see adding those onto the blockchain. The other thing that's kind of apparent is we don't see there being one blockchain that covers everything. So there'll probably be multiple blockchains based on different processes. So right now we're talking to different companies in the ecosystem about the ability to work together on the different blockchains to see how they could connect and how we could build an effective solution. There's a few things out there that we still need to address as an industry, I think. Interoperability is something that a lot of people talk about. I think that's something, especially when we start moving to connecting the chains, we're going to need to be able to standardize and have interoperability between the blockchains. The collateral pledge application doesn't actually use PII, personally identifiable information, but some of our other products do. So how to handle that in a blockchain, I think, is another area that we need to kind of look at. And then governance, of course, is something that we'll have to address. So to wrap up, in terms of the lessons learned, there's a few things that we kind of learned out of this. Number one, ensure the blockchain's the best solution for your use case. There's a lot of solutions out there. There's a lot of problems that can be solved without a blockchain. For the cases where you need a blockchain, it's very effective, but there are quite a few out there where a blockchain's not really needed. Choose a blockchain platform based on its area of focus. If you look at the different platforms out there, they tend to optimize for different scenarios. We chose Hyperledger Fabric, but for different use cases, you'll probably want to make sure that the platform is moving in the direction that you want to go. You have to think differently when you're building blockchain applications. It's different than a traditional in-house application as you're building it. There's a number of different factors when you're going across organizations in terms of data ownership, code ownership, that kind of thing. So that's another important point to think of. We talked about interoperability. And then the last point I have here is technology is not really the hardest problem here. The hardest problem is blockchain is a technology that, by design, is meant to work between organizations, frequently competing organizations. So the hardest part is simply getting them to come to the table, agree, and be able to build and implement a blockchain solution. All right, that's what I had. I'd love to talk to other people about their experience with blockchain, and if there's an opportunity, people see an opportunity to work in the same ecosystem or they're doing work similar to us, it'd be great to talk. Thank you.